Hello, you, the one listening in the quiet. If tonight you're an Aries woman lying alone in a room where the only sound is your breath and the slow ticking of time, then let me tell you something. You're not alone, you're being chosen. Yes, when the rest of the world has drifted into sleep, but your heart is still awake, not because of sorrow, but because something inside you is rising. A new layer of intuition. An old light returning in a new form. Because you are Aries. You weren't born to be led, you were born to lead. You weren't made to wait for love, you were born to ignite it from within. These nights alone, they're not meant for complaints, they're sacred. They're part of your transformation, unseen by others. But your soul is being reborn. They may think you're strong, but they don't know how many nights you had to hold yourself, just to keep from breaking. How many times you stayed quiet, just to keep someone who had already let go. How often you wondered, if I had been softer, if I had asked for less, if I hadn't been so completely myself, maybe they would have stayed. But then you learned, any love that needs to be earned through shrinking is not love, it's fear wearing a mask. And you, Aries woman, made of fire, were never born to fear. You were born to burn bright. Now, every time you lie still in the dark, you are returning to the core of who you are. No noise, no need to prove, no need to be seen. Just you and the small light flickering in your chest, quietly becoming a flame. You're no longer the woman who pleads to be chosen. You've become the one who looks the world in the eye and chooses what deserves to enter her life. Your stillness is not weakness, it's listening. You're hearing your body now. That subtle shift in your heartbeat whenever someone enters your life and makes you feel like you need to shrink just to fit their shape. No, you weren't born to fit. You were born to live fully as yourself. Do you remember there was a time when one look could make you tremble, one promise and your heart would bloom with hope, one embrace and you believed you'd never be alone again. But now you see, some touches warm you, others make you lose yourself. And that's why tonight, even if you're still alone, you're no longer fragile. You are a woman learning how to rise from within. No one needs to carry you. No one needs to save you. You just need. The world may not see the difference. You still show up, still smile, still care, but inside, you are changing cell by cell. You're clearing space, letting go, tuning the frequency of your heart. You're no longer broadcasting, "Please love me so I can feel whole." You're transmitting something different now, a signal that cannot be borrowed, cannot be copied, cannot be taught. It comes from the nights when no one touched you, but you still held yourself with love. It comes from the peace you claimed for yourself, not one that anyone handed to you. It comes from the courage you forged each time you said no to things that were almost enough. Dear Aries, you're not losing your emotions. You're not running out of love. You're being renewed. You're being rinsed clean of old shadows, being called back to the version of yourself you once dreamed of meeting. And that's why those who once dismissed you are now unsure around you. Those who left are now wondering how to come back. But it's not because you changed to make them regret it. It's because you no longer need them and they can feel that. A woman who walks through loneliness without turning bitter is a woman no one can replace. And you are becoming her. Not because someone loves you more, but because you love yourself better. And then there will come a night when you lay down like always, not expecting anything, not reaching for anyone. Just another ordinary night, but something will feel different, not outside of you, but within, like a gentle warmth spreading quietly, like a soft light rising after a long, cold winter. You'll feel it. A sign, small, silent, but real, and maybe you won't name it right away. You'll just close your eyes, breathe out, and smile, because somehow you know you are no longer where you used to be. And in that exact moment, your soul will begin to whisper something it has never said aloud. Something we're about to explore slowly, the way the first sunlight slips through the curtain, after a long night, revealing what you always felt but never dared name. Hold your breath gently, because what's coming is unlike anything you've ever lived through before. Because when an Aries woman stands alone, it's not because she's run out of places to lean on, it's because she's strong enough to stand on her own 2 feet. The universe never asks you why you're lonely. It doesn't care who left you or how many people forgot to stay. It doesn't look at the story, it listens to your energy. And if tonight you're sleeping alone, it's because the universe knows you no longer need someone to call you theirs. What you need is space to return to your first love, yourself. This is the chapter where the Aries woman no longer lives to please, no longer stays quiet to hold together a relationship that's already lost its soul, no longer bends herself to fit into something labeled acceptable. You're not here to be agreeable. You're here to be alive, fully, boldly, unapologetically, and that isn't something everyone understands. Your strength intimidates. They call you difficult, too much, too stubborn, but they didn't see the nights you cried alone, just trying to keep some kindness alive. In a world that kept shutting it down, they didn't see you, holding the hand of someone your heart no longer recognized, smiling through cracks. You tried so hard to ignore, pretending you were okay just so they wouldn't leave. You gave enough, sacrificed enough, softened more than enough. And in return, what did you get? One day, you looked in the mirror and saw a stranger in your own eyes. Not because you were less beautiful, but because in trying to keep others, you lost pieces of yourself. And so you began the journey back, quietly, without needing anyone's approval. You returned, gathering each shard of light you had once dropped, each corner of your heart you had silenced, each ounce of courage that had been drained. You started over, with a breath, with a step, with a sleep that no longer needed to be filled by someone else. Each night now, you lie down, not waiting for their name to appear on your screen, not scrolling to numb the emptiness, just letting the dark wrap around you like an old, familiar friend. You don't fight it, you don't run from it, you just listen and breathe, because now you know resurrection doesn't happen under bright lights, it happens in stillness. And when an Aries woman comes home to herself, she doesn't need to rush to prove anything. She knows what's meant to stay will stay, what's meant to leave can go, and when she stops chasing, life begins to soften toward her. People begin to realize your presence is a privilege, not because you changed to be liked, but because you stopped needing their validation to feel complete. The light you carry now isn't like the light from a lamp, it's fire, raw, real, and no one touches it without feeling something awaken inside them. You don't have to shout to be heard. You just have to stand still, and the world will listen, because you're not just alive, you're awake. And awakening is a solitary road, but it's not lonely, it's quiet, so quiet. You can hear the footsteps of destiny getting closer. Dear Aries, your strength was never about being hard. It's always been your ability to live true, to feel deeply, to refuse to pretend. And in a world loud with filtered images, a woman who dares to be real is the rarest flame of all. You are that flame, and now you don't live to be chosen, you live to choose. You choose peace over noise, stillness over settling, depth over quantity, clarity over pretty words, and right there in that sacred space, where no one else can enter, where only your soul sits across from you, a whisper begins to rise, not rushed, not loud, but you feel it, like warm water weaving through your chest, touching something ancient, something buried, and deeply real. It doesn't need a name. It doesn't need to be defined. As long as you keep breathing, that whisper will stay with you, and maybe, just maybe, if you listen closely enough right now, you'll hear what it's trying to say. A message meant only for you, a signal from the part of your light you forgot you ever carried, and from here we'll walk slowly, like spring wind brushing across your shoulder into a new kind of journey, not towards someone, but into an entirely different level of life. You were once the girl who tried to hold on to something already breaking, the one who sent the last message, the one who sat in silence for hours just hoping someone might change their mind. You waited for a door to open from the other side, not realizing the most important door had already been closed, the one that led you back to yourself. You used to believe love meant enduring, that it meant endless patience and keeping someone around, even when your heart was tired. But then you learned real love never asks you to lose yourself just to keep it alive. If you have to betray who you are just to stay in a relationship, what you're holding onto is no longer love. And then one night, when you're no longer crying over anyone, no longer angry, no longer reaching, you just lie there in a quiet room, no voices, no noise. And suddenly, a strange stillness moves through your chest. It doesn't hurt, but it's not empty either. It's something else, like you just broke free from an invisible chain. That was the first night you weren't afraid of being alone, and from that moment, you started to wake up. No one saw it happen, because real transformation doesn't show on the surface. It lives in the silent choices you make every day. You stop texting first. You stop creating excuses to stay. You stop letting your emotions drag you where your clarity won't go. You stop compromising with what you know doesn't feel right. You're no longer soft just to be spared. Not because you became hard, but because you became clear on who loves you for who you truly are and who only loved. The quiet, easy version you pretended to be clear on boundaries, clear on value, clear on what brings true peace and what's just illusion wrapped in pretty words. And from there, you begin to walk, not loud, not dramatic. You just leave quietly from anything that once held you down with fear, like a warrior pulling her sword not to fight, but to protect the most sacred place she has, her own heart. From now on, you don't shrink to be kept. You keep yourself. And if anyone wants to come close, they'll have to learn how to honor that. You're no longer the girl sitting beside the phone waiting for a message from someone who already let you go. You're the woman who puts the phone down, turns off the light, and wraps herself in sleep with her own arms. Because you know no one can give you the safety you don't first build within yourself. You don't need love to feel worthy anymore, because now you are worth. Every step you take, every word you say, every line you draw is a reflection of a soul that once bled quietly and still refused to fall. You don't need someone to complete you. You need someone who can shine beside you, someone who doesn't shrink you just so they can feel bigger, someone who doesn't go quiet when you need truth, someone who doesn't leave you standing alone in the storm and call that growth. No, real love doesn't come when you're forcing it to stay. It comes when both people choose to stay freely, willingly, with respect. And if that person hasn't shown up yet, you're still okay. Because Aries, real courage isn't about holding on, it's about letting go of what no longer fits. And then one day, in the middle of a perfectly ordinary life, no craving, no hoping, you'll feel a breeze brush softly through your chest. No noise, no promises, just something real, new, unexpected. You won't even name it. You'll just know something inside you just opened, like a door, like a signal, like a hidden spring starting to flow again after a long, dry season. And right there in that fragile pause, in that unnamed peace, something will begin to carry you further. Not toward another love, but toward yourself, a version no one has ever met. Not even you. You feel tired, but you can't quite name the reason why. Your body isn't in pain, but your soul feels like it just walked through a long, cold winter. You're not complaining, not crying, not visibly sad, but something inside you is quietly falling apart just to be born again. Aries, this isn't exhaustion. This is renewal. This is the moment you stop pretending to be who you used to be. The masks you once wore, they start to fall away piece by piece. And there, beneath it all, is the real you, the version you left behind long ago. Sweet words don't move you like they used to, not because you've gone cold, but because your heart has learned to see the truth behind the words. You still listen, but you no longer rush to believe. You still feel, but you no longer lose yourself in the current. You simply stand, clear, awake, whole, because now you know love isn't loud. It's not what's on display. It's what reaches the quietest corner of your soul and still lets you feel safe. And when you finally begin to hear your body whisper, the part of you that's been drowned out by logic and buried by life's rush, you'll know you've stepped into something sacred, a space with no spotlight, no applause, no audience, just you, and a flame rising gently from within. That flame doesn't need to flare up to prove it's real. It just needs you to stay, to sit with yourself, to not run when no one else is around, because now you're no longer living to be completed by someone else. You've already found wholeness inside. You're not waiting for someone to fill the void anymore, because you understand only your own light can do that. And so you begin again. You start choosing everything, choosing who, choosing how, choosing where, choosing how you speak to yourself. You don't chase anyone, and you don't need to be chased. All you ask for is fullness between two free people. And when you taste that kind of fullness, you realize you don't need much. You don't need to hear your name spoken every day. You don't need grand promises. You don't need loud declarations of love on the street. What you need is presence, a gaze without judgment, an embrace that doesn't cage you, a person who's strong enough to stand beside you but never make you lose yourself. And if that person hasn't arrived yet, you're still okay, because now love isn't a need, it's a reward, a resonance between two souls who learn to love themselves first. Aries, do you see it? No one told you, but you're beginning to glow a little more each day, not because of anyone else, not for anyone else, but because you chose truth over temporary comfort, because you chose to turn inward, even when it meant many quiet nights, alone. You didn't become stronger to prove anything. You just didn't want to keep living in a shell that no longer fit. There's a light burning inside you now, not blinding, not screaming for attention, more like the warm glow in a house on a cold winter night, steady, quiet, keeping even the forgotten corners warm. You don't need anyone to tell you you're worthy. The peace you're building is the proof, and the one who's meant for you. They won't come loud or forceful. They'll arrive like morning sunlight, softly passing through your window blinds, natural, unforced, not to possess but to stay. And if you're sitting quietly right now, hearing your heartbeat louder than any voice around, know this: you're very close to something beautiful, something that doesn't come from outside, but from the one place you once forgot. The place where the fire first started, lit by your patience and your love for yourself. And that's where we'll go next, where that quiet fire starts to burn hot enough to change the whole atmosphere of your life. Not through power, but through awareness, because real light always starts from within. One day, when you're living in peace, not waiting, not longing, not hoping for anything anymore, someone will quietly show up, like a breeze after a long summer drought, natural, like a gift sent straight from the universe. They'll say the very words you once ached to hear. They'll do the things you used to wish someone would do for you. And in that moment, your heart might tremble a little, because it still remembers what it feels like to be needed. But this time, you are no longer who you used to be. Aries, you're standing at a sacred threshold, not the doorway back to love, but the one where you choose what's right. This is the final test, the one God places gently in front of you before he opens the real gate ahead. It's not punishment, it's his quiet way of asking, have you truly healed? Can you tell the difference between what looks like happiness and what actually is? Will you still accept almost enough, just because you're afraid of being alone again? This isn't the time to choose from old emotions, not from memories tied to weaker days. This time you choose from something deeper, from the knowing in your body, from a heart that has finally learned not to betray itself. You don't need someone to fill the silence. You need someone who can enter your space without asking you to shrink just to fit theirs. If you have to strain to keep someone beside you, if you have to trade your inner peace for their presence, then that's not the gift you've been waiting for. That is the final exam, and God, he already knows you're ready for something better. But before he gives it to you, he asks softly, will you still settle for halfway? Will you still choose temporary comfort? Just because you fear the emptiness, because Aries, the universe doesn't send treasures to a heart still half awake. You must awaken deeply, so deeply that just by looking into someone's eyes, you know if you're leaving yourself behind or not. The truth is, not everyone who arrives now is wrong for you. They might be kind, they might be gentle, they might stir something in you, but what really matters is, can they align with the light that's already within you? This new flame inside you, it's not like the old one. It doesn't need to be lit by someone else. It just needs someone who won't blow it out. And you know something, the quiet strength you hold in these final moments, that's living proof of your trust in God, because he didn't bring you this far just to give you something unworthy. He didn't teach you patience, didn't let you walk alone through all those long nights, didn't help you learn to love yourself just to have you fall back into old cycles. No, he led you far enough that you wouldn't want to go back. He kept you on your own long enough that you'd learn the difference between real love and momentary ease, because what he's about to send your way will not be like anything you've known before. A person who doesn't make you guess, a connection you won't have to chase or decode, a presence that doesn't pull you away from God, but draws you closer. But to receive it, you have to move through this moment completely, no rushing, no fear, no second guessing. Just stay with yourself a little longer, and when the stillness gets deep enough, you'll feel it. Something soft begin to shift inside you, a subtle change in your energy, a new kind of light behind your eyes, a gentleness that's no longer fragile. And maybe, if you sit still long enough, you'll hear footsteps approaching. Not loud, not flashy, just real enough to leave no doubt. But before that moment comes, take a deep breath and know this: you've just passed the final gate, not by forcing, but by choosing gratitude and trusting what comes next. Because what's waiting for you now is no longer a lesson. It's the reward, not a test, but proof that your faith was never in vain. There were nights when all you wished for was a peaceful, uninterrupted sleep. No longing for someone to come, no ache to be touched, just one small wish to feel at peace within yourself. And in those nights, the ones that felt devoid of hope, something began to quietly grow inside you. No one else saw it, no one needed to, but you knew you held on. You didn't abandon yourself, you didn't drop your gentleness, you didn't close off your faith in something beautiful yet to come. Aries. The reward doesn't arrive when you win someone over. It doesn't come wrapped in roses or in vows of perfection. The true reward first emerges as a quiet light rising from inside you, unhurried, needing no applause, just being. Naturally, undeniably, you used to be that girl, hoping someone would choose you because you were gentle, because you were easy, because you didn't ask much. But now, you don't need to be chosen anymore. You have the right to choose. You choose peace over impulsive passion, depth over sweet words, someone who listens, rather than someone who performs love. Above all, you choose what aligns with the light you carry. The reward doesn't come from outside, it blooms within you. From the nights you held yourself after tears, from the times you left quietly, without demanding explanations, from resting your hand upon your chest and whispering, "I'm okay." The reward is the moment you realize you don't need someone to tell you you're worthy, because you are the worth. You no longer need someone to fill your void, because you've learned to nurture that emptiness into light. You were once the place where others sought refuge. Now you are sacred ground. Only those who cherish it can enter. You're not closed off, but you have boundaries, not to keep people out, but to remind yourself, no one walks in this space without genuineness. And then, one day, amid the most ordinary moments, you begin to notice everything around you is shifting, not because the world changed, but because your inner frequency shifted. You're not attracting those needing a lesson, you're drawing those ready to build. No more relationships that hold you down, only those that help you soar, without losing yourself. You no longer have to send signals just to be seen. Your calm presence has become its own kind of light, making anyone near you breathe easier, because light doesn't come from trying to be someone you're not. It comes from the courage to be vividly, beautifully yourself. Oh Aries, you've carried much, you've waited, you've been disappointed, you've felt broken, you've trusted poorly, given to the undeserving, suffered losses, but you never stopped. And the real reward is not someone else, it's you becoming the woman you once prayed to become, whole, steady, shining, no longer soft from missing someone, no longer trembling at being alone, no longer needing love to exist, because now you are love. You are your most mature, your most full, your clearest version of yourself. And from you, a new wave begins to ripple out, touching others, reminding them of what's real inside them. You become that kind of light, not by teaching, but by quietly, unmistakably being present. And here, where your inner light now beautifully illuminates a chapter of life, another door will open, softly, as if it had never closed. A door you don't knock on, you simply step through, with a heart unafraid of loss, eyes that see beyond surface illusions, and a soul that knows the greatest reward in life is not being loved by someone else, but living fully as the light you were always meant to be. You're no longer the one who softens in someone's hands, just to be held a little longer. You no longer bow your head, no longer shrink yourself down, no longer suffocate who you are, just to fit into a relationship that's already lost its soul. Aries. You used to believe that to be loved, you had to be a little softer, a little quieter, a little less too much. But now you know someone who truly loves you will never ask you to dim your light so they can feel safer in the dark. You weren't born to be tamed. You were born to lead. You weren't made to be agreeable. You were made to be real. And the truth, it's not always smooth, not always easy to swallow, not always what people want, but it's the part of you cherish the most because it never pretends. You are the light others search for, not because you're sweet all the time, but because you're real in a way that no one can walk away from without being changed somehow. The fire in you, it's been tested, it's been buried, it's been called too much. But it's never gone out, because beneath every disappointment, every love that didn't last, every dream that fell apart, lies a silent power. Only those who have held themselves in the dark can truly understand. You don't need someone to see you anymore because you've seen yourself. You don't need promises that say, "I'll never leave," because you've already chosen to stay even when no one else did. And now, when you love someone, you don't love to be kept. You love to move forward. No more shrinking to stay. No more looks that confuse you. No more sweet words that pull you away from your own intuition. You love, but you're not blind. You give, but you don't lose yourself. You accept, but you no longer negotiate your worth. Your love now, it's an open space. No control, no guards, because whoever walks in must be grown enough not to break it. You are no longer the woman who softens to be kept. You are strong now, in the quietest way. No shouting, no forcing. Just walk into a room and your energy speaks. You don't need to explain your strength anymore. You just need to keep being yourself and let that light lead. And if someone leaves, you don't beg. If someone stays, you don't doubt, because you don't choose people to avoid loneliness. You choose people to go further. And when you can sit alone in a quiet room, close your eyes, smile, and feel peace in your chest, you know. You don't need anything else to prove you're worthy of love, because you've become love. Not something you chase, but something you carry. Not a condition, but a nature. Thank you to you who listened until the very end of this journey. Thank you for not giving up, even when your heart nearly did. Thank you for being brave enough to return to yourself, even when that road was long, quiet, and lonely. May you always remember, no one can take your light from you as long as you believe in the sacred flame burning inside you. May you keep loving with strength, choosing with clarity, and walking with the steps of someone who knows their worth. To you, the Aries woman, may you always burn in your own way, not needing anyone to light the fire and no longer afraid of anyone trying to put it out. Thank you. And may what you just heard stay with you like a small lantern, lighting your way back home. On the days you feel lost for no reason, you've always been the light, and you still are, from within.